Amara lived in a bright, bustling neighborhood in Bengaluru. Her apartment building, painted a cheerful shade of mango yellow, was filled with friendly families. Everyone knew everyone, and the scent of jasmine and cardamom often drifted through the open windows. Amara, with her curious eyes and a small notebook she carried everywhere, loved her community. She knew Mrs. Rao on the first floor grew the best tomatoes, and Mr. Chen on the third floor told the most fascinating stories about his travels. The community garden was the heart of their building, a place where laughter was a common sound and neighbors shared everything from gardening tips to delicious, freshly made snacks. It was a peaceful, happy place. One sunny Tuesday afternoon, a shadow fell over their cheerful community. Mrs. Gupta, a kind elderly woman who lived on the second floor, was very upset. She had lost something precious, a beautiful necklace with a peacock-shaped pendant. It wasn't just any piece of jewelry. It was a gift from her late husband, a memento she cherished more than anything else in the world. She had been wearing it that morning while tending to her rose bushes in the community garden. Now, it was gone. Her eyes were filled with tears as she explained the situation to her concerned neighbors, her voice trembling with sadness and loss. Amara saw Mrs. Gupta's distress and felt a strong urge to help. This was more than just a lost item. It was a piece of Mrs. Gupta's heart. Amara approached her gently, her notebook ready in her hand. "Don't worry, Mrs. Gupta," she said with a comforting smile. "I will help you find it. We will look everywhere." The determination in Amara's voice seemed to give the older woman a glimmer of hope. Solving mysteries was something Amara loved to read about in her books, and now a real-life mystery had appeared right at her doorstep. She felt a sense of purpose and was ready to begin her investigation. Her first step was to carefully survey the scene of the disappearance. The community garden was a vibrant tapestry of green leaves and colorful flowers. Amara walked slowly, her eyes scanning every inch of the ground around Mrs. Gupta's prized rose bushes. She looked under the large terracotta pots, behind the stone bench, and even peered into the dense foliage of the hibiscus plants. She knew that the first clue was often the most important one. The garden was a busy place. Children played here, and neighbors often gathered to chat. The thief, if there was one, must have been someone who knew the garden well. Amara's search began to yield small, interesting details. She noticed a set of small muddy footprints near the rose bushes, much smaller than an adult's. They led away from the garden and toward the back gate of the apartment complex. This was a significant clue. It suggested that whoever had been near the necklace was not very big. Amara carefully sketched the footprint pattern into her notebook, noting the unique tread. She also found a single bright red bead lying in the soft mud, almost hidden by a fallen leaf. It didn't belong to Mrs. Gupta's peacock necklace, which was made of gold and blue stones. This was something else entirely, a clue left behind by mistake. With her new clues in hand, Amara decided it was time to talk to the other residents. She started with the children who often played in the garden. She found little Rohan flying a kite near the water tank. "Rohan, did you see anything unusual in the garden this morning?" she asked kindly. Rohan, a boy of about 8, shook his head at first. But then he remembered something. "I saw Raju near the roses," he said. "He was looking at something shiny on the ground. He ran away when he saw me coming." Raju was a quiet boy who lived on the 4th floor and rarely spoke to anyone. Amara thanked Rohan and made a note of his statement. The red bead and the mention of Raju started to form a connection in her mind. She remembered that Raju often wore a bracelet made of colorful beads, including bright red ones just like the one she had found. This was becoming more than just a coincidence. She felt she was getting closer to the truth, her heart beating a little faster with excitement. The puzzle was slowly coming together, piece by piece, and she was the one fitting them into place. It was a thrilling feeling, a mix of responsibility and discovery. Her next stop was the 4th floor, where she hoped to find Raju. She felt a little nervous as she walked up the stairs, rehearsing what she would say. She didn't want to frighten him or accuse him directly. Her goal was to understand what had happened and, most importantly, to retrieve the precious necklace for Mrs. Gupta. She knew that talking to people was the key to solving any mystery. The truth was often hidden in what people said, or sometimes in what they left unsaid. She took a deep breath and knocked gently on the door of Raju's apartment, ready for the next chapter of her investigation. Raju's mother opened the door, looking surprised to see Amara standing there. Amara politely asked if she could speak with Raju for a moment. When the young boy came to the door, he looked nervous, his eyes darting to the floor. Amara noticed that he was clutching his wrist, trying to hide a bracelet that was missing a few beads. She smiled kindly, trying to put him at ease. "Hi Raju," she began softly. "I'm trying to help Mrs. Gupta find her special necklace. Rohan said he saw you in the garden this morning. Did you happen to see anything shiny near the roses?" At first, Raju shook his head, refusing to make eye contact. But Amara was patient. She showed him the single red bead she had found. "I found this in the garden," she said gently. "It looks like it might be from your bracelet." Raju's eyes widened, and a tear rolled down his cheek. He finally looked up at Amara, his small face filled with guilt and fear. He hadn't meant to cause any trouble. Seeing the evidence in Amara's hand, he knew he could no longer hide what had happened. The weight of his secret was too much for him to carry alone. With a trembling voice, Raju confessed everything. He explained that he had been admiring Mrs. Gupta's beautiful peacock necklace from afar. When she left the garden for a moment to get some water, he saw it had fallen onto the ground near the roses. He picked it up, intending only to look at it more closely. It was so shiny and beautiful. But then he heard Rohan approaching and panicked. He didn't want anyone to think he was a thief, so he quickly hid the necklace in an old unused flower pot at the edge of the garden and ran away, accidentally dropping a bead from his own bracelet in his haste. Amara listened to his story with compassion. She understood that he had not acted with malice. He was just a young boy who had made a mistake and was too scared to admit it. "It's okay, Raju," she said reassuringly. "The most important thing is to do the right thing now. Let's go get the necklace and return it to Mrs. Gupta together. She will be so happy." Raju nodded, a look of immense relief washing over his face. He was glad he didn't have to keep the secret any longer. Together, they walked back down to the community garden to retrieve the hidden treasure. Amara and Raju walked side by side to the forgotten corner of the garden. Raju pointed to a large, dusty terracotta pot that was cracked on one side. Reaching inside, he carefully pulled out the beautiful peacock necklace. It glinted in the afternoon sun, as brilliant as ever. Seeing it safe and sound, Raju felt a wave of relief. Amara smiled at him, proud that he had chosen to tell the truth. They then walked together to Mrs. Gupta's apartment on the second floor, the precious memento held carefully in Raju's hands. This was the final step in making things right. When Mrs. Gupta opened her door, her eyes widened in disbelief as she saw her cherished necklace. Raju held it out to her, his head bowed low. "I am very sorry, Mrs. Gupta," he whispered. "I found it and I was scared. I promise I will never do anything like that again." Mrs. Gupta's face softened. She took the necklace, but then she knelt down and gave Raju a warm, forgiving hug. "Thank you for bringing it back to me, Raju," she said kindly. "It takes a very brave person to admit when they have made a mistake. I forgive you." The news of the necklace's return and Raju's honesty spread quickly through the mango yellow apartment building. The community was not angry. Instead, they were proud of both Amara and Raju. Amara was celebrated for her clever and kind detective work, for solving the mystery without causing fear or anger. Raju was praised for his courage in telling the truth. The incident brought the neighbors even closer together, reminding them of the importance of honesty, forgiveness, and looking out for one another. The shadow of suspicion that had briefly fallen over them was gone completely. That evening, the community garden was once again filled with laughter and cheerful chatter. Mrs. Gupta, wearing her beautiful peacock necklace, shared a plate of homemade sweets with everyone. Raju played happily with Rohan and the other children, no longer carrying his heavy secret. Amara sat on the stone bench, writing in her notebook, not as a detective this time, but as a happy resident of her wonderful community. The mystery was solved, and peace had been restored. Her neighborhood felt safer and more united than ever before, a true testament to the power of understanding and community spirit.